Hello and welcome to Twist Grip Tales at the Victorian Road Racing Championships, and here we've got Matt. Welcome to Twist Grip Tales.
G'day mate, how are you?
We are well. Now Matt, you've been racing for a few years and you've been racing on this little machine here.
Yeah, one of this is a NSF 250 Moto3 bike, so similar to what you see in the Moto3 on the World Championship level. This is an off-the-shelf version. We've got another version at home, which is a Grand Prix spec machine, so different motor, different frame. But yeah, I'm sort of looking at moving up onto something bigger, so that's why I've acquired this machine and looking at having a bit of fun on that.
So this machine is a 250cc, and how many cylinders?
So single cylinder, twin cam, water-cooled cassette gearbox, so you can take the gearbox out and change your ratios really easy. And reverse cylinder, so the exhaust actually comes out of the back and the intake is coming in from the front, which is quite unconventional compared to a lot of other standard road machines. And yeah, it's a bit of work of art really. What HRC have done is, yeah, they've done a real good job designing these things.
So that's really good. It's a pretty sporty looking machine with the upside down forks and everything. Now, Honda make a CBR 250 single cylinder road bike, which is a twin overhead cam, but that's a completely different, as you say, the head's been turned around the wrong way or the right way for racing. This has got a cassette gearbox, which means you can take the gears out yourself without having to pull the engine apart, which is pretty handy if you want to change ratios. You've got a great big, huge disc on the front, so this is a specific race bike.
Very specific race bike. Basically, a lot of this Moto3 stuff is prototype based. You can't go into your normal dealership and buy any of the stuff on this machine. You've got to go to a specialist dealer, which may be in Japan or maybe over in Europe, and get all the bits for the motor, the chassis, everything like that. So
are you a professional racer, Matt?
I'm not professional, no. No, just enthusiast.
So what do you do for normal day-to-day, Monday to Friday?
Mechanical fitter in the oil and gas industry. So service fuel gantries and process chemical machines, things like that. Process units to turn oil into petrol that we end up putting in the bike. So.
But I'm just looking at the smile on your face, and a machine like this puts a smile on your face. How long have you been racing this machine, Matt?
This machine in particular, 10 years this year. So I first got this one when I was 16. No, strike that, sorry, 17 I got this machine. So that'll be, 8 years we've had this bike, and the spec of it hasn't changed from what you can get right now, so exactly the same.
Thank you very much. So, and how have you gone in the series? So you've been racing Victorian, have you raced any other series, and how have you gone in that?
I've had a couple of years layoff, but previously in 2015 and 2016 we had MotoGP Wildcards, not on this machine, on the other Grand Prix spec machine that we have at home. And we basically chased the series until ASBK canned Moto3 as a class and replaced it with the 300 Super Sport. So hopefully we can get Moto3 back on the ASBK grid and have a few more of these come out, because there's a lot of young kids coming through and they want to get Grand Prix wildcards, the same opportunity as what we had, so it'll be good.
So a Grand Prix wildcard means that you got to race at the Grand Prix?
Yes, at the Grand Prix at Phillip Island. I was lucky enough to get that opportunity. We had a really good year in 2015, and from that, MotoGP gave us a shot, and it was an incredible experience and something I'll never forget.
So when you say you had a really good year, how good of the year was that year?
We never finished a race off the podium, and we were pretty ecstatic with that. I mean, it's a long time ago now, 10 years ago now. But yeah, it was we ended up third in the series from a couple of little mishaps, and the last race of the series decided the championship, and that's just the way it went.
So you were in the top three?
The top three, and Tommy Bramage, who's riding in the 600 Supersport ASBK this year, won the championship that year, and it was a very fierce competition. Tommy and I get on great, and it'll be good to catch up with him soon, I hope.
All right, that's great. But this is the last year that you can race this machine because of the age restrictions on this sort of machine. 27
is the cap for any wildcards coming into MotoGP. But yeah, hopefully I'll be riding this machine when I'm 50, 60 years old. I'm going to keep it for as long as I can, and provided I'm fit enough to ride it, I'm going to give it a crack. And he hasn't had a go on it yet, so he wants to have a good crack.
All right then. Now, the big thing is that we're going to move. You're racing on this machine, this for the first time this year, which is a tiny little, a tiny little Panigale 1200cc Ducati.
1300, 1299, so nearly, yeah, a bit bigger than 1200, a little bit bigger.
Now, how much more horsepower is this Ducati finding than the little Honda?
It'll probably be about 4 times as much, probably a little bit over. These things are producing probably around 45 horsepower in that current spec, and this thing will be over 200. So, go figure.
200 horsepower. So, does the front wheel ever touch the ground with this machine?
The front wheel hasn't turned a wheel in anger yet. This is our first go. You've probably come and asked me that after my first session, and I'll let you know whether the front wheel touched the ground or not, but I doubt it. Not with that much power anyway.
All right, so you're looking to slide it through the corners. Does the little one, do you slide that through? I know on the old 125s in the ancient class, they didn't hit the brakes very much. They'd wash the speed off by sliding the front wheel. But do you use that sort of technique, or do you just ride it on the brakes?
These things are very much about wheels in line. Rear brake is useful on this, but probably not as critical as on a big bike or anything like that. Coming into the turn, your back wheel's normally patterned on the ground, so the back brake doesn't really do much anyway, but in the turn, it can really help you hold that line and pull it back. Yeah, this thing, it's not going to slide it anywhere near as much as this, but it will slide and it will bite if you get too aggressive with it. It's all about just a bit of balance.
Now, these new Ducatis, they've got lots of technology. You haven't ridden this in anger yet. So you've got anti-wheel stand technology, you've got anti-wheel spin technology, you've got lean management, you've got anti-lock braking, you've got steering. So I'm thinking that probably for this, all you've got to do is do a bit of Facebooking and just take the checkered flag. The bike does all the racing, and all you've got to do is sit there and play with your mobile phone.
Yeah, all you got to do is hold on while you're going 300 plus kilometres an hour. It's that easy, you know. No, I'm looking forward to understanding the electronics package on this, and hopefully I can get a level of understanding that I have with these things and get the most out of it as I can.
Now, you've got a secret weapon that you told me about, Matt, which not many other riders have, and there is a rider input that is required at every level of racing, despite the amount of electronic control that you can put into a bike, and that is you ride Speedway as well.
Yes, my career started in junior Speedway and junior flat track. I focused more on Speedway in my junior years, and since moving to road racing when I was 13, basically that's all I've done. And now, because I'm in the tail end of what I can see as a potentially professional career, I'm just enjoying myself riding Speedway and just enjoying riding bikes. So I'm back riding Speedway, and just having a lot of fun, getting the thing sideways and having a good crack.
Putting the foot down, you got the steel sole on your left-hand shoe.
Yeah, I got the steel shoe. Got the steel shoe on to stop that left foot digging in. But yeah, keeping the foot down, keeping the foot up, cutting a few shapes, and yeah, trying to get the thing sideways and yeah, turning left. Just keep turning left. That's all you got to do.
That's it. So what sort of machine are you riding in Speedway?
I got a GM 500cc single-cylinder methanol machine. No electronics on it compared to what this thing has. It's just a straight stator and a rotor and a spark. That's all Speedway bikes have. Basically no suspension, a little bit in the front and a bit of a dampener, and that's all you need. Tyre pressures, you're running at about 8 psi in the rear tyre compared to 25 up to 30 on these things, so it's like chalk and cheese. But I run a Stewart frame. I also got a Jawa frame that I sort of am toying with at the moment. As I'm only just getting my head around the senior Speedway side of things, I'm sort of toying with a few different setups and trying to find a comfortable setup for myself, my size, my riding style, and yeah, it's been interesting. It's been interesting learning how to go sideways again. for sure.
That's really great, and where, as you say, it's a 100% rider and a whole lot of methanol burning engine to go slideways on Speedway. So I think that might be your secret weapon on this great big monster, because you're going to get this thing sideways a little bit coming around the corners too, I think.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Hopefully by the end of the weekend we can feel a bit comfortable on it. I really haven't even turned a wheel on it, so I'm not expecting to get too sideways this weekend, that's for sure.
All right, but you've got a local track advantage. You're a local lad. You're a Myrtleford boy.
No, not Myrtleford. No, I'm from down near Ballarat, Balan. I'm looking forward to coming up to Myrtleford to ride this new Speedway track that's up there. But my home track is Broadford. The home track that I want to claim is Phillip Island, but it's a couple of hours away from me. But I love that track, and that's really somewhere that I feel more at home. But yeah, Winton, it's an interesting shape, and it's definitely challenging, put it that way.
There we go. So your home Speedway track is, what's that, Redline out of Ballarat?
On the car Speedway it would be, yeah. Unfortunately the bikes aren't allowed to ride on the big car size tracks. Also a different surface as well, so the more clay doesn't really lean towards what we try to do on the Speedway. So Broadford is my home Speedway track, and I've enjoyed riding there this season, that's for sure.
Well, come around and show us this machine. This is a beautifully prepared, not many motorcycles are in green.
No, it's not. It's definitely a unique colour. It was the previous owner decided to paint it this colour. We recently acquired it, and we've just spent the time changing the mechanical side of it to set it up the way we want it set it up. Clean a few things up, and the aesthetics on the outside is probably the next thing to come, and hopefully get a few sponsors on board for the next couple of years and chuck their stickers on the side too.
So support Matt in this. Don't mistake this for a Kawasaki. It is not Kawasaki green. It's got Ducati here, and this is a fire-breathing monster. You've got a great mechanic down here. Do you know this guy?
Yes, my old man. This is the mechanic, team manager, chef, driver, everything that you can be in this industry. He's the man.
And chief sponsor?
No. Unfortunately, I financially bankroll all this myself. But I do buy him coffee, so technically he gets more out of it than what I do. So.
That's really good. I see he's wearing a Hagen wind cheater there, which is a Speedway-orientated. What do they make? They make bikes and engines, don't they?
They make bikes, yes. They
Yes.
used to make grass track bikes.
There we go. So your name is Chris. He's the mechanic, the great guy. So welcome to Twist Grip Tales, Chris. And you're fettling this machine this weekend.
I'm trying to figure out how the fairing goes back together, actually. As you've been filming me, I'm dropping screws everywhere. But yes, no, it's a piece of work, this is for sure. With everything stripped back, you look at the basics and you go, it's so beautiful and simple, and then you just pile all the electronics on it and it gets all out of hand. You know,
Yeah.
very quickly.
There we go.
But,
So Maddie, tell us, you've got an Instagram.
Yes, I do.
So tell us what your Instagram, so people can get behind you and support you.
At Matt Barton 24.
At Matt Barton 24.
Not to be mistaken with the tennis player Matt Barton. It's motorcycle racer Matt Barton.
Oh, you're not Ash Barty.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
So B-A-R...
B-A-R-T-O-N.
At Matt Barton 24. Get behind him and support him on both these machines. Give his dad some support too. So thanks for liking, subscribing. Don't forget to subscribe and comment. Give Matt and his whole man a bit of encouragement. He's working really hard down here to get this bike out on the track. Thanks for watching Twist Grip Tales. What a gorgeous machine.